up the stress level. No, don't do it. Get a grip. This stupid video I just showed you. I almost stroked out and died over it. You're watching a different show. You donkey. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. Don't do this to me, Harry. The Ohio State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean, the? 312-988-15.
Hello?
You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks. It's always Irish Tailgate Party Week. Welcome in. Welcome back to the shout. I'm in a weird spot with this Notre Dame football team. And I feel like I'm not alone in that. I just don't know what to make of it. And I don't know what to make of them. And I'm not quite sure what the trajectory is. And I'm not quite sure what the high watermark's going to be. I'm just not sure. And I don't know what to make of that, you guys, when you're going into game 4 of year 3. I would just like to feel like I have a better grasp of what this all is and is going to be, and that I can rely on. And I just don't think you have that. You got 3 different games that have 3 totally different feels, and you're just not quite sure what you're going to get. And now you got injuries. I want to talk about that. That's a bigger deal than people think, and we're not talking about it enough, what that whole injury thing is going to do. Joe Cool says, I'm scared of this week's game. Well, Notre Dame's about a 27, 28-point favorite. It's time to be scared, apparently. This stupid game. Like, you're only a 27, 28-point home favorite. Yeah, time to be scared if you're Notre Dame. You have proven you cannot handle that, right? But I'm in a weird place with all of this because I'm just not quite sure what the realities are of what we're dealing with. You don't want a football team where every week you tune in and you're like, well, I don't know. I guess we'll find out what we got, maybe. That's not ideal, you guys, to just be like, I don't know. I guess we'll just see what we're going to get. I don't know. And we just hope that it's the good versions of the offense and the defense or whatever. It's a little rough. Purdue would be last in the map. Purdue's really bad at football. And listen, we entered this game, a good group of callers already. Keep it coming. We entered this game with no leverage, you couldn't run your mouth. You had no leverage. You couldn't say anything. You were coming from a position of weakness entering this game. So there was not a lot of chit-chatting or a lot of talk between, Notre Dame towards Purdue or whatever. It does feel good to remind them they don't matter and they're nothing, though. That does feel good. In retrospect, I'm frustrated about what happened the week before. But it really does. It does feel good to let them know they're nothing and they don't matter. You know what else is an interesting discussion that I see in the chat taking place is about these running backs with Love and Price. And are they being used enough? Are they being used the right way? Is everybody getting their fill enough to be satisfied? Or could some other school, could Texas come in there next year and go, hey, Love, you're the best player on the field whenever Notre Dame plays anybody. Why don't you come play for us? We'll give you 30-something carries a game and a bunch of oil money. I don't know. I'm just asking. And then if everybody's all worried about Love and Price is a heck of a back himself, hey, I just think we were going to hand the ball off and run out the clock to end the half, and he just shredded the Purdue defense and ran it all the way, just ran right around everybody. Like, hey, so that's an interesting discussion too. And I'm wondering if I wonder if they feel like, do you guys think the staff feels like if they limit the touches for Love, when he does get the touches, he's going to be more dynamic? Do you think that's a part of it when you ask why a guy like Love isn't getting way more touches when every time he touches the ball, it could be a grand slam, home run, touchdown? I wonder if they think, oh, we're going to limit the touches so when he does get the ball, it's a lot of burst and he's all ready to go or whatever. I don't think that's a guy you got to worry about that being a problem. I don't think that's a guy you got to worry about that being a problem. And I'm telling you what I would do right now. And I'm not some X's and O's expert. Everybody knows that. I'm running as many plays with, I want Price and Love out there at the same time. And I want a defense to have to worry about both of those guys at the same time. And I want those guys to have to worry that they're going to just take off. And you just can't keep your eyes on both of them. And I want eye candy, and I want you having to worry who's going to do this. Somebody out here, and it's you don't know who's getting it. I just think anything to make it more complicated for a defense. When those two guys touch the ball, it's Notre Dame's best chance to score offensively, right? So I don't know. It's just, man. Mark says Alabama and Georgia don't give a crap about keeping backups happy. I guess it's just, man. I mean, well, Alabama and Georgia have a lot more raw talent to work with in the program than Notre Dame does. So they have more flexibility if somebody doesn't want to be there to be like, we'll be fine. We have another 5-star. Pull them out of the closet. Let's go. Right. So I don't know. So I want to know where you guys think all this is at. I was sitting there this morning. I'm having my coffee, looking at a couple notes for the show. And it's just, I'm a little frustrated. I don't know more firmly exactly where this team is at. And maybe that's on me for expecting to know that after 3 weeks or whatever. But I thought I'd have a more steady pulse of exactly where all this is at. And I just don't. And the other thing that's frustrating too is this kind of blowout against an in-state rival that always runs their mouth and has little brother syndrome to what Notre Dame football is in Indiana and all that. There isn't a lot of chatter, even when we crush them, because of the week before, man. That doesn't just go away because you piled it up on Purdue. All it made me do is all these points we're scoring against Purdue. The more we piled it up, the more I said, can a brother get one of those scores to add on to last week's score? It's the most frustrating. I couldn't be the only one. Every time we scored another touchdown, I'm going, yeah, could have used that last week. Doesn't do me any good to pile it on now. Like, that one threw everything off kilter. Even if you had won that game ugly, kept the ball down the field and won by 1 point against Northern, everything would be different. The feel would be different. The discussion, the talking point would be different. It would all be different. But you didn't. So now you're in a weird spot. And you got to win all your games. And I can you win all your games? I don't know if you can or not. I don't know. Pat says, I interacted with Pat, the most recent. Pat, the most recent applicant to Purdue grad. He's there. Pat's gonna he's gonna go get an honorary degree from Purdue. He's gonna live out of the RV. He's gonna party with the 21-year-olds, and we'll never see Pat again. He's moving to West Lafayette. He's living out of that RV. And he's just going to go to college all over again and do it again. He was telling me he's sending me pictures Friday night going, they got new rules for beer pong. Everything's different, John, since we were in college. Pat says, I interacted with a lot of Purdue fans. I never heard NIU once for them. They knew what was going to happen, which is why the stadium was 50% ND fans. So that's a lot different than my experience online, where all these people were running their mouth to me all week. They were all running their mouth to me, all those Purdue people, Purdue podcast people, Purdue YouTube people, they were all running their mouth to me. They thought there was blood in the water, and this is when they were going to get Notre Dame. Kevin says, my Canadian buddy, I'm going to see later this week coming to Notre Dame. It's a long way from Canada. In a way, losing to NIU might be a good thing. No! Humbled them and made them hungry every week. Kevin, a close win was enough to do that without ruining your path to the 5 seed and hosting a playoff game. Like, that's where I'm going to draw the line. You didn't have to lose a game to get that message. You could have won 14-13 in an ugly game, got the message you need to wake up, and it didn't ruin the year, and ruin everything that you have going on. So whatever. Yeah, Bryce Young, man, that guy flies around for being a big guy. That guy, he flies around for being a big guy. And then Kennedy Urlacher, dude, is it just me or did he seem really fast? Like shot out of a cannon, boom, and then he's blowing something. He just seemed really act like, there he was. I like seeing that. Did NIU even win this week? I heard nothing. I'm pretty sure they had a bye week. I think they had a bye week. Byron says, John, it's a long season. That's the reason you can't just run Love and Price to death. You don't have to run him to death. You could run him more than you're running him now. There's a lot of middle ground to live in. I'm not asking you to run these guys down into the ground, but you could run them more than you're running them now. You could give them each 5 more touches in a game. That's not going to run these guys into the ground. Like I'm not asking you to just hand it to them and get them all beat up, but you could give when they are your best, most reliable playmakers, you could give them each the ball a handful more times without worrying about them losing the tread on their tires. They're in the best shape of their life. Give them each a handful more carries to go score touchdowns. Gee, I just don't think it's enough when they're your best players and every time they touch the ball, it could be a touchdown. So that's how I see it. Let's do a couple super chats and then we'll go to the callers because we do have a bunch already. Yeah, everybody hit the like if you will, if you don't mind. I want to see Pat's student ID there for Purdue. It's just hilarious. He was like, dude, they changed the rules of beer pong. It brings me back to the old days. $5 Aller. Good morning and happy Always Irish Tailgate Week. Win or lose, we still booze. Can't wait to drink Miller Lite for breakfast with you fine folks. Yeah, you can't beat a Miller Lite for breakfast, man. You're frustrated about your football team, drink a Miller Lite. You're happy about your football team, drink a Miller Lite. You have anxiety about your football team, drink a Miller Lite. Throw in a cigar, if you will, and you have a well-rounded, healthy American breakfast on a Saturday in the fall. I don't know what else anybody could ask for or expect. Oh, it might be hot in that parking lot. That'll help that beer go down. Ooh, baby. $5 holler from the 80s guy. So Riley Leonard is entrenched as QB1. What happens if we play a team that completely shuts down our running game and we have to throw the ball? Well, then you probably lose. Like, I don't know what 80s guy, you probably lose that. I don't know what to tell you. All I'm saying is all these people that want like a split quarterback thing, or they want the guy that can throw better or whatever, and they're not impressed with it, and Leonard didn't see the guy wide open behind the defense or whatever. And then I know on the other one, he was probably going to throw a touchdown, but then the O-lineman got pushed back into our own guy and whatever. I just don't think it's going to happen, you guys. I get why people want it to happen. I just have I think it's much more likely Denbrock tries to adjust the offense to better suit what Leonard can do moving forward than it is that they go with somebody else. And you're definitely not going to go with somebody else with Riley Leonard's stat line from Saturday. You're not. I get it. It was running, not passing. I get it. But when you win by that amount and he runs for that amount and accounts for all those touchdowns and does all that stuff, they're not going to go, you know what? Yeah, we need to pull him. He's the problem. We can't win. They're just not going to do it. I get why people want it. They're just not going to do it. So I don't know where that leaves you, but you've got to figure out a way to be able to pass the ball down the field more efficiently and effectively for this. You're just going to have to. You're going to have to figure out a way. I don't know what else to tell you. $20 holler from the Philly special, the tailgate donation. I appreciate that very much. Rodney, he's in the Halloween spirit already. $5 holler. Worst defeat Purdue ever suffered. Won't the real ND football team please stand up? Please stand up. Yeah, like the real Slim Shady, please stand up. Mark with glasses, my wife can punt further than this Australian guy. You guys, I'm really confused about that too. And I know that's a small thing. Callers, I'm coming to you. We'll go to you. I know that's a small thing when you look at some of the bigger picture stuff. But I'm not seeing this huge leg punter all like in August. Oh, he kicks it 65 yards. Well, nobody's seen anything like it. Whatever. I have not seen that yet. I have not seen that yet. So I'm still waiting for him to boom them that far and all that kind of stuff. I just haven't seen it yet. I'm waiting. I want to see it. I'm waiting to see it. He short legs a lot of them. I don't think they're going very high or very far. I'm just frustrated with it. Like, come on, man. Come on. Those reports at practice. Oh, he boomed him. Uncle Rico, he boomed one. It was 70 yards. Oh, it has a weird Australian spin that guys can't hold on to the ball, whatever. Oh, what do you mean? I'm waiting to see that. It doesn't go that far. It doesn't go that high, and I don't see a funky spin. Was I misled? I don't understand. I was told that guy booms it. I ain't seeing it. So whatever, man. I'm sorry. Just like the wide receivers are a real group this year. Oh yeah, okay. If you say so. Like I don't know. Oh, one more thing here, and then I'll give it to the callers. A 60-degree wedge kick. Not really, because my 60-degree goes high in the air. Not a line drive. That's the other thing. He isn't getting a lot of like a distance, but it also isn't staying in the air that high. My 60-degree wedge at least goes high, theoretically, unless you blade one. Ohio Pod, good morning, Eric. What's going on? What's going on, buddy? Here's the other one more thing, and then we'll bring it to the caller. Yeah, I remember the beat telling you, trust us. The wide receiver room's totally different this time. Oh yeah, okay. Psych your mind, bro. Psych your mind. I was thinking about this morning. Yeah, mine's a line drive. Yeah, that's the problem. If you hit a 60-degree the wrong way, it's a line drive. Has anybody else been thinking about this? This is a bad situation it's a bad situation with the offensive line now. Think about this. It is good that Notre Dame has backups that have some experience that you could put in the game, and then they're not like, oh my gosh, I've never played in a game before. I don't know what's going on. That is good that you are able to play guys that have experience. It's bad because they didn't start for a reason. Okay, so that's a bad spot to be. So now you're down what? 3 starters, Jagasaw, and then these 2 guys? Shrouth and Craig. I'm expecting them all to be gone for the year. So now you're down 3 of those guys you wanted to start right away. So then you have these backups, and they have experience, so you feel good playing them. But it's not ideal because they didn't win those jobs. So you're not putting your best guys out there. So that's frustrating. But here's the bigger picture. You're losing all that year of development for that young offensive line. It sucks. Is anyone thinking of it that way? Like, I get that you're saying, oh, we have guys that have some experience. So that's not the worst, to put them in jobs for a reason. So that makes me uncomfortable. And the bigger thing is it's a whole nother year and you have no development. That's terrible for this offensive line. Jagasaw out. Now these 2 guys got 2 games to get used to whatever. And now we got to start it all. You're losing that whole developmental track. For the full year, for the whole year. It's just not ideal, you guys. And then right when Botello finds a role on this team and is succeeding, and he thinned up and muscled up and looks to be taking it seriously, and he finds himself a role, then you end up in this situation. Andrew says, is Craig really done? I woke up to a couple text messages this morning saying, expect the news to be all those guys are done for the year. That could be wrong. My source could be getting the wrong information. I don't know anything for a fact, but the first text message I woke up to said from one of my people, expect bad news on all these guys. So I don't know. Whatever. It's just really, really unfortunate. So I don't know, you guys. I want to know what you make of this team, because I'm struggling to figure out our level here. So I want to know what you guys. I want to know what you make of it. Where's this team really at? Where do you feel comfortable with it? Are you starting to trust them again? 27, 28-point favorite at home. Are you kidding me? I don't trust anything. The good news is your quarterback situation's better than Michigan's. They really messed up. I don't know how you ended up. Why didn't Michigan go to the portal or do something else other than what they did? It's a rough situation. And then what do? You expect USC to go in there and beat them. And then guess what? If that happens, USC's on a little bit of a roll. He has a win. They would have a big win over LSU and Swamp Donkey down there. And then they would have a win over Michigan. That's called USC's rolling. That's called USC's rolling. Whether you believe in them or don't believe in them, that's called USC's rolling. I don't know. It's going to be really interesting. Really interesting. Rodney, what's going on? If you're on the lines, I'll get to you. Hang in there. What's going on, Rodney? Good morning.
Oh, man. Good morning, John. Man, you catch me off guard. You're going on a rant. And then, Rodney, what do you want to think? Oh, shoot, I got to get off speaker and get back on the phone.
I got you. I got to keep you on your toes on a Monday morning.
You do, man.
Yeah.
You're unpredictable.
Listen, Rodney, I just don't know the realities of this team. I don't. We have three games under our belt that have three totally different feels, and I'm just not sure what the real Notre Dame team is and what their levels are, and I don't know what to make of it.
I mean, it's like, I don't know who it was that called that said something about, or maybe it was a chat, or it was like, I drank for three different reasons. I know exactly what that was about.
That's good.
Because on, the A&M game, it was like, that was a hard fought game. We didn't pull away until, late in that game, where we got that 10-point win. I mean, dude, I felt like we should have been up by more.
Rodney.
But it was like, I was drinking funny. Out of relief.
That's so funny. That it's so accurate. We drank 3 different weeks for 3 different reasons. It's 100% correct. Like, so, but what's the real Notre Dame team? How could you have these swings? These total swings where parts of the team are good, bad, awful, whatever. In 3 weeks, you're that big of swings. That's a tough way to live in college football when you're that wildly inconsistent. What are the realities here?
And everybody's saying, here's the thing, too. It's interesting because, I drank first week, because it was game 1, but also a relief, right? Because after winning, I was like, finally. I mean, I was mad. I was definitely, a couple things were thrown during the game against A&M. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, against Northern Illinois, thank God I didn't get to see the second half of that game. I just wasn't able to. We had a band went up and played. And so, I mean, I appreciate those. I had to watch the highlights instead, not have to endure that. And then, last week, just an absolute annihilation. And I'm hearing some people say that Purdue actually has got a lot more talent than what we saw. Like, they're better than that. And they're actually, because, everybody's like, oh, they're terrible. And, I'm watching it, and that's what my eyes are telling me. But I'm hearing some people say, don't be a bit surprised that they're a lot better than what they played that day. What's interesting, John, is we got Northern Illinois ranked 23rd right now. We got A&M just creep back in the top 25. And I'm just saying, if you just take it at face value, as this season goes along, and major, major assumptions that we win, I'm just saying, I even think a 10-2 Notre Dame team could possibly still get in if those teams keep winning and looking good. Also, what no one's talking about, I mean, you saw Georgia 13-12 over an unrated Kentucky team yesterday. What if they lose that game? I mean, if we had just beaten Northern Illinois, John, if we had just won the game, the perception of that is completely different.
Yep.
We're probably ranked still in the top 7 teams with, in the country.
No one,
I mean, Georgia literally still got first place votes after that win over Kentucky. They still got first place votes.
No one's going to remember that when you get into like November. It's just going to be another ugly win on the ledger for Georgia. You just have to survive it in advance.
John, all those games that Brian Kelly barely won, that we were like, oh, this team's no good, but they won, so we felt that. Once you get 2 or 3 games behind it, you don't remember. I mean, you remember it, but you don't really. You only remember it because they lost.
You just had to survive it. You just had to survive it, and you didn't.
You had to survive it. And I mean, I'm looking at this team, and I'm like, okay, I think, again, I can't trust my eyes anymore. I guess what I can trust is what Marcus Freeman has shown so far, and that is, if you're playing a big game, he's going to have you ready. He's going to have you ready. If you're playing in a game in which you have just been embarrassed the week before, he's going to have you ready for that game too. Okay, I mean, you couldn't have been more ready to play yesterday. So I'm just saying, I mean, all the people, and again, we got a long way to go to see how this whole thing unfolds and turns out. But people are calling for him to be fired last week. I'm just saying, like, dude, it is why have we not, after years and decades of being college football fans, figured out this is also going to happen to other teams this year, John. There are going to be teams ranked above us that are going to get beat by teams they shouldn't lose to. I think this is the new era of college football. It was amazing to me. Nobody had a Notre Dame loss yesterday. It was kind of amazing. But that's a rarity. I think this is going to happen. And so because of our little data we have at the beginning of the season, all you have is 1 or 2 games. Every year there's these overstatements made. Now, again, could that mean, especially with these injuries, could that mean that down the line, some things start happening to our line and we lose a couple more games? Sure, it could. But what I saw yesterday is, okay, in terms of just talent and skill and all that, this is a really, really good team. Obviously, Now, again, I know we're playing a MAC team this week, and I know it's whatever the point spread is, and it's a home game, and here we go again. I kind of think it's not going to happen this week because I think we're ready for it this time. But what happens 6, 7 games down the line, and I don't have the schedule in front of me, so I can't see. When we're starting to feel really good, they're coasting, they've won 6, 7 in a row, let's say, that's when I'm going to be worried, John. That's when I'm really going to be worried again, because it's like, man, Freeman has actually surpassed expectations far when it comes to them being on the ropes. I mean, far exceeded my expectations as far as how he gets his teams ready to play when they're doubted, right? But my God, as far if we win 3 or 4 in a row here, it's going to be really interesting to see how they react then when they play another team like Northern Illinois. And I think Northern Illinois is probably going to be a really good team this year because of all the seniors they have. But I just got so many thoughts from it in my head. It's just a fascinating thing. College football is so fascinating.
Yeah. Well,
we talk a little bit about Angeli and Riley Leonard. Is that cool, John? Can we talk a little bit about both of those guys?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
So, I mean, look, man, I don't know. You tell me I'm crazy. Tell me I don't know anything about football. But every single time I see Angeli get to the game, it seems like good things happen. All of a sudden, guys that are never getting open get open. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, and by the way, a couple of good scrambles in the game as well. Having said that, oh my God, man, 2 of the 3 Riley Leonard touchdowns were amazing runs. The first one especially. I mean, my God, I was like, that's an incredible run. Just give the kid credit. Are you thinking like me, John? Would we be better off running a double option are there 3 better runners in college football than Riley Leonard, Jadarian Price, and of course Jeremiah Love? Are there 3 better running players?
I like it. Spread
behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, really, are there any? Yeah. I mean, no, I don't think so.
That's funny.
Those are the 3 best running players running the football in college football. No question. Those 3 guys. And I'm just like, okay, why don't we play to their strengths then? John, why? I mean, it's baffling me. what were we doing in that when obviously something was working? You know, and of course, Northern Illinois was going to fight us no matter what we did. There's no question. They came to play that day. That coach had them ready. And God bless them. You know, more power to them. I hope they win, you know, all their games. They have one. I looked on their schedule. They have one Power 5 opponent, and that's NC State. Everybody else is a MAC team or whatever. But I'm just like, but had we just ran the ball, if we just given Love the ball a couple more times, Price the ball a couple more times, we'd probably win that game.
Yeah.
And it's like, if we didn't think, and I don't understand, John, Leonard did not have it that day. It's not like because you bench him, that means, oh, now Angeli's a starter. Why can't you just okay, he doesn't have it today. Let's bring in the relief pitcher just for today.
Yeah.
I'm certain whether you give the ball to Love, whether you give the ball to Price, or whether you let Angeli have at least a couple series in the second half, I think we won the game. I really do. And I'm not saying Angeli's better than Leonard. But I'm just saying, every time Angeli gets in there, it does seem like good things happen.
All right,
now maybe the kid just has something about it.
All right, now what if I push back and I said that's because when you see Angeli, we're winning by a lot or playing a bad team in a bowl game? I'm not trying to be a jerk, but what if I say when you're?
I'm sorry, John. Did Riley Leonard, at least so we see more of it, Northern Illinois? Did Riley Leonard play a great team? I'm just asking.
No. I'm just saying
so maybe Angeli's better when you play inferior competition. I'm serious. Maybe that's where Angeli shines, is when you're playing an inferior opponent. So maybe what I'm saying is you got to know your team better, man. Like Marcus has a heartbeat on the team when it comes to, again, the situations where his back's against the wall, when they're playing a great opponent. But after they get coasting a little bit, when people are feeling fine, when the fan base is like kind of blowing off the game, that's when you know, okay, something could be amiss here. What's the coaching staff going to do to get him ready? And I'm just like, okay, maybe Angeli's not that. Maybe in practice he's fumbling the ball, he's throwing interceptions, or whatever. It just seems like when he gets into a game situation, there's something about him. I'm not saying start him over Leonard, not at all. I think Leonard had a great game, man. Okay, he didn't throw a touchdown pass. He also didn't play in the second half. And he ran the ball. I mean, the control he had over the offense was great. I'm going to give him all the credit in the world for that. I'm just saying, if we put Angeli in that game when Leonard was struggling, I think we win the Northern Illinois game. If we give the ball to Jerry and Price or Jeremiah Love a couple, 3, 4, 5, 6 more times in that game, we probably win the game. I mean, Love might be the best running back in college football. He might be. But certainly those three, Leonard, Price, and Love, are the 3 best running players behind the line of scrimmage in college football. There's no question in my mind. Why not? Little double option. Why not?
I don't even think you didn't have to do anything fancier than just turn around and hand the ball to Love and Price, and you win the game against Northern Illinois. You don't have to do anything fancier. You don't have to throw it down. I literally think if you would have just committed to handing the ball to those guys a bunch more times, you win the game. I'm frustrated with it. I'm not going to get over it. You needed to do what Georgia did and just outlast them and then forget all about it. So I don't know, man. This is going to be interesting now. I don't know what you do. Hopefully you learned your lesson at home. Rodney, the next 2 weeks are going to tell you a lot. You're going to find out if you learned your lesson at home against an inferior opponent, an allegedly inferior opponent. And then you're going to get Louisville, and that's going to be your next big test, and the playoffs on the line. And if you lose it because you're one-dimensional and can't pass or whatever, and you lose it, the whole season's over, and then we have a different problem. And if you win it, then maybe your playoff hopes are still alive for longer, but you put yourself against behind the 8 ball by what you did against Northern. You add to Georgia that, baby, and just find any way to win it ugly, and everybody moves on and forgets about it. You didn't do it. That's not acceptable in year 3, and I'm miserable over it still. Blowing out Purdue doesn't make me feel better about it, and I'm upset.
I mean, I can't disagree with anything you're saying, man. It's again, though, for the season, I said, you guys kind of convinced me 11-1, but before I got convinced 11-1, I was saying 10-2, and it was because I figured we would have a game that is hard fought against a really good opponent. Maybe it's USC. I was thinking it could be A&M, could be USC, that we lose a close one too, that we play our hearts out, but they just find a way to win. And then another game where we have no business losing to that team It seems like that one we got out of the way. I hope there's not another one of those coming up.
Yeah.
That's why I said 10-2, because Freeman is getting better and better and better as a head coach. But I think people still got to understand, I'm not trying to like be an apologist. It's like, let's just look at the facts. The guy's not even 40 years old yet, and it's like, this is his first head coaching job. There's going to still be mistakes. What I want to see is he getting better? Getting better. And again, after 3 games, here we are, 2-1, and now let's just see where we go from here. I mean, couldn't have asked for a better comeback win after what he absolutely had no business doing the week before. So I'll give him that. And I think we're on the trajectory. It's just hard to get, like you said, John, it's just so hard to get a heartbeat on what team week to week are we going to get, So I'll leave you with this too. I got to give Rudolph credit, man, as an offensive line coach. It just seems like, I'm not saying things are perfect, obviously, but when you run for almost 400 yards, yeah, Purdue, whatever. But 400 yards and 2 offensive linemen go down in that game, and you had one went down before the season started. You were already a thin offensive line at that point. Rudolph's been a great hire, man. He's been a great hire. I don't know. I just thought I'd throw him some credit, because that's great coaching, man. Getting those guys ready to go and playing that way. Now let's keep seeing it happen. But so far, I got to give the offensive line have far exceeded my expectations, and especially now with some of these injuries. And yeah, John, just like you, why is it every time a Notre Dame player goes down, it's season ending? I mean, why can't it just be like a couple weeks? I know you said it hasn't been completely reported yet, factually 100% they're gone, but it's the same thought I had, John, when Vitello went down, out for the year. I know he will, but it'll be out for the year. I guarantee it. Stroud went down, out for the year. I guarantee it'll be out for the year. And then who was the other one? Help me out, John. Who was the other one that went down? The third guy?
Craig,
yeah, same thing. I'm like, out for the year. I'll bet all 3 guys. She's like, why can't it just be oh God, I dinged my ankle, bruise or something, and they're out for a couple
that's
weeks.
The way it goes.
Why is it always season ending? Every single time.
It's bad.
Anyway,
that's a bad run.
I'll see you this weekend,
that's
buddy.
A bad run.
I can't wait for.
Yep. Well,
can't wait for this weekend.
We'll be in touch. We'll see you later on this week, and you could give me your theories in person. I'm looking forward to it. Have a good one.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it too.
Have a good
Monday.
Monday.
Looking forward to seeing your family too, man. Your family's great. So.
Appreciate that.
All right, John. I'll talk to you in a few days.
Yep. We'll see you. Man, I don't know what to make of this. It's just so frustrating where Notre Dame's at, and I feel it from people. Right, they're right in the middle. I don't even understand where this comes from, Chief. Whenever John starts getting in the major Freeman glaze mode, it's time to worry. LOL. I have no idea where that's coming from today. I haven't said anything like about that. What you did against Northern Illinois is 100% completely unacceptable and couldn't happen. I don't know what part about that is glazing Freeman. I have no idea. I have no idea what that is a reference to. I have no idea. You do know. I have no idea what you're talking about, Chief. All I've said is that's an unacceptable loss. It could never happen, and I don't know where you go from here. I have no idea. I've been here all summer, blah, 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 blah. Oh. So when Notre Dame does good and wins a huge marquee ball game to start the year, I'm not allowed to be positive about that because you don't think Freeman's good or whatever. And that I don't understand anymore. Even when we succeed, I'm not allowed to compliment the coach. And then when we fail and I say it's not good enough, that doesn't count either. So you guys just see whatever you want to see in your own head. That's fine. See whatever you want to see. Like, I don't understand. Yeah, you want to talk about choosing hard? Freeman talks about choosing hard. Yeah, you're choosing hard when you want to make the playoff and you lose to Northern Illinois at home. You're choosing hard, all right. You're choosing hard. That is the hard path. But it's just a little frustrating. Like, it's completely unacceptable what happened against Northern Illinois. I don't know where that leaves us. I don't know where that leaves Freeman. whatever you do the rest of the year, it's completely unacceptable to lose to Northern Illinois. I don't know where that leaves Freeman. I don't know where that leaves any of this. It couldn't happen. It was the one that couldn't happen. It could never happen. It definitely can't happen in year 3. Like, I'm trying to be fair here. I don't know how else I could say it. 618, what's going on? Welcome to the show.
Good morning, John. How you doing this morning?
I'm okay. You know, I'm glad Notre Dame. I'm glad Notre Dame won the ball game, but it's just an interesting start to the year. We're really inconsistent. What do you think of that?
So I struggle with it because, you know, I was very happy to watch until halftime, see them run up the score on Purdue, be able to relax, enjoy some Miller Lite, just breathe. But then I still, in the back of my head, like you've said multiple times, it doesn't matter how bad you beat Purdue. Purdue may not win 3 games all year. And that's maybe not a knock on them. They have a really tough schedule in the Big Ten. But in the back of my head, it's like, if we can play that bad at home against Northern Illinois, I don't know what to make of the team. You saw that they went on the road to Texas A&M and won the big game. Then the next week you have this gigantic, unworldly letdown in front of your home crowd.
Yeah, it's you don't know what you could trust. Like, once you're capable of dropping that low, I can't trust you anymore. And so I just don't know. I don't know where that leaves us, or what level that leaves us at. And the next 2 weeks are a big deal to me because you could kind of steady the ship. If you have any hopes of this playoff whatsoever, you blow out Miami, Ohio back at home, and you show you learned the lesson. And then Blyberg says, "What's with this Miller Lite thing? People drink this garbage." I do. It's my favorite beer. I don't need anything fancy. I like my Miller Lite. That's maybe why people reference it. So leave me alone. I'm not one of these fancy millennials that needs to go to some brew house and have them do some science experiment out of some tube. And then I get some hoppy beer with all these fruity flavors and all this. I don't need any of that. Just give me a few Miller Lites and leave me alone. There's a good day. Give me Miller Lite and leave me alone. How about that? I don't need any of your fancy craft beer, and I gotta have a curly mustache at the bar like some fancy dude in the big city and sit there like some weirdo. Just give me a Miller Lite and leave me alone. How about that? Anyways.
You're absolutely right. And on top of that, so I'm coming to the tailgate, and this will be my second Notre Dame game ever. In 32 years, this will be my second one. If I drive 5.5 hours and see the same performance against Miami, Ohio that we saw against Northern Illinois, Marcus Freeman experiment. Now, do I think that's going to happen? I hope not, but I also thought a week ago that I could be doing the same thing I did this weekend and checking other games at halftime, that we'd be blowing them out so much that the backups would be in. Boy, was I wrong on that.
Yeah. And don't you kind of think, I think Notre Dame's learned their lesson and they're going to be wide awake and prepared for Miami, Ohio. The problem is you already did the thing you couldn't do. Like, that's the problem I'm having now. Is I get that we need to move on. I totally understand that. I understand you can't focus on that. And there's a bunch of other games to play and you got to move on. And then I also understand a lot of articles and podcasts are talking about how when Freeman teams are down, they do a good job of bouncing back up after something bad happens or whatever. I understand that as well. But the idea is that you don't have something that bad you need to jump up for, right? Like, that's the problem I have with when the absolute worst case scenario happens to Marcus Freeman's teams, they bounce back the next week. Great, but I need you to not let the worst case thing happen first.
Well, and and if it could not have been Northern Illinois. Now, if we're 3-0 or 4-0 after next week, and we had beaten Northern Illinois, and let's say you lose a super tight, close game to Louisville, and some things just don't go your way, the ball doesn't bounce your way.
Oh,
okay, I can live with that.
man.
And you come back the next week and you blow out whoever, and you keep the train moving. But that was one, because all of us as Notre Dame fans know, even if they go 11-1, when we get to the playoff show, they're going to say, yeah, but do you remember when they laid a huge egg at home against Northern Illinois? Do you remember how did they let Northern Illinois come into South Bend? And, you're going to hear the same story over and over and over again. It's going to follow you for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
it's. And if you take a second loss, it probably knocks you out of the playoff.
Oh, probably. Oh, it definitely does, because you just couldn't have this one, man. You needed to do what Georgia did. Play, have a rough game and just get through it. That's all you needed to do. So now you gotta find a way to run the table here. And it's 1 week at a time, elimination games. Look at it as you're already in the playoff, and it's elimination games, and you got to win them all. And that's a rough spot to be. And even if you do that, because of the nature of the loss you have, you're not, even if you made the playoff and ran the table, and we could debate all day the odds of that happening. Even if we ran the table, you're not getting that home playoff game. So that's screwed. You can't, you're not going to lose to Northern Illinois and then get the home playoff game. So now you're on the road anyway. You messed this all up. Sorry, you messed it up. Even if you make the playoff, you messed up your path. It's unforgivable. Sorry.
It is, you're absolutely right. And I am interested to see, I wasn't thoroughly impressed with Riley Leonard on Saturday. He did miss a lot of open wide receivers, but did he make a lot of plays with his legs? Sure. He ran for 3 touchdowns in a 34-yard one. He stiff-armed a guy, tiptoed the sideline, and, I mean, that was a great play. I was happy with that. But like somebody else, previous caller said, what are you going to do if Louisville or Florida State or USC puts 10 in the box and this guy can't throw it 10 yards down the field? Are you going to be strong enough? Is Freeman going to be strong enough to say, look, Riley, we love you. You're great. You're a great kid. We're thankful for you being here, but I need Steve on this drive. I need Steve to be able to throw the ball. Now, did Angeli take some horrible sacks? Yeah. And that may just be him, overthinking it or thinking he has longer than he does. I can live with that. But he did throw that ball to Jaden Harrison. That I don't know if Riley Leonard's making that throw, period.
Yeah, but it's really frustrating though. It's really frustrating. Like I love what I saw with Riley Leonard's feet and all that. I love all that. The 3 touchdowns, the good run on the sideline. I love all that. But I can't bring in a one and done upperclassman guy that doesn't see wide open people for touchdowns. Sorry. You're getting a lot of money. You're an upperclassman guy. I need you to see wide open people and throw them the ball for a touchdown. I just don't have the patience. This is not a freshman. This is not CJ Carr and you're going, oh, he'll learn. No, bro, you're an upperclassman. We gave you a lot of money. I need you to see open guys, throw them the ball for a touchdown. That's what we paid you to come here and do.
100%. And that, we talk about question everything. And it really, and I don't know who is at the top of the chain on this. It may be Freeman. It may be some other coach that's recruiting. But why are we just because Riley Leonard, and yes, his film in the past is good, and he played a decent game against Notre Dame until they hurt him. But why are we just looking at one and saying, nope, that's our guy. We got to go get him as soon as the portal opens, because that they've been working on it for weeks. There's a reason kids jump in the portal with a do not contact. They know exactly where they're going as soon as they enter the portal.
Yeah, it's really, but you know what? That is interesting. That is interesting. And people, and Andrew Gilmore saying he missed 2 guys, John. It's a fallacy that guys are running open all game. But that may be the difference between winning or losing. When you have two guys wide open for a touchdown, you got to throw them for a touchdown. That's like the plays that determine the game. That could be 14 points. Like, isn't that kind of the point? Is that you bring in a one and done quarterback. So when you get that matchup in that one play, you deliver it. That's why you start an upperclassman and not a freshman, is that when you have a guy behind the defense, they see him and make the throw. That's why you go get a guy with experience in the portal to make those 1 to 2 throws you need to make to get ahead and win a game. And I'm not saying to bench Riley Leonard. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm just saying I'm frustrated. He replaced it with a 30-yard run, but I'd rather have a touchdown than a 30-yard run and not a touchdown.
Well, and I think it's something he's just accustomed to. His instinct is to pull it and run, and that's fine against Purdue. You could see from the very first drive that Purdue was very slow on the edges. They did not have the speed to keep up. They did not have the athletes, and that's fine, and you take advantage of that. But that run against a Louisville or a Florida State or a USC, he is getting blown up. They're not going to miss 4 tackles. He's getting crushed on that play.
Yeah, listen, I don't have all the answers. I really don't have all the answers. I don't think you put Leonard in there and everything's fine too. Like, I don't believe that either. Angeli's limited in certain ways too. He doesn't feel pressure and doesn't get out of the way in time to get killed. Like, I'm not like, oh, we need Angeli. I'm not saying that. I don't know the answer, but I know that this passing game isn't good enough to beat good teams. Like, I don't have all the answers. What I'm saying is this passing game isn't good enough to beat real teams right now. And you might find that out against Louisville. Like, I don't know. I don't have the answers. I'm not saying I do, but I do know this passing offense Notre Dame has is not good enough to beat a good defense right now. I don't believe it is. I don't think it is, man. You made just enough plays against A&M to get away with it. Man, it just doesn't. I haven't seen any development from there, really. So I don't know where this leaves us. I don't have all the answers. I'm just a little frustrated.
No, you're 100% right. And my last point is, if you go back to that, and I'm not saying he did it the whole game because he definitely didn't, but on the last drive, he put that ball to Bo Collins at the exact place that you wanted, that either Bo was catching it or was going to be an incomplete pass. And we haven't seen a single play like that since then. We tried to take a deep shot, and he comes up 25 yards short that my grandma in a wheelchair could sit out there and intercept all day long. And then this week against Purdue, they run a lot of the gadget plays in the orbits and the little short toss.
I'm just picturing your grandma. I'm picturing your grandma intercepting the ball in her wheelchair and wheeling between our players to bring it back to the house. She's on one wheel, turning around, people wheeling all the way back to the touchdown.
I mean, seriously, it was so woefully underthrown that that guy could have ran to the concession stand, grabbed a bag of popcorn, came back, and still been like, "Oh, look, thanks, a gift."
Yeah, it's I don't know. Listen, I'm just a little frustrated, man. Do I expect too much that if you're paying the amount of money we paid to get a one and done upperclassman transfer guy, that I need him to be good at running and passing? I don't think I'm asking too much. Maybe I am. I just don't think you're asking too much that in a one and done rental where there's no development, it is all about this year or bust, that the guy can comfortably run and pass. I don't think I expect too much, but what do I know?
No, you don't expect too much at all, because on the other hand, if he would have ditched that and said, you know what, look, we're going with CJ Carr, or Minchie, they're young, they're talented, we're just got to progress them. And you take a couple losses as Notre Dame fans, we don't like it, but we're much more understanding that there's a future being built. Yeah. Okay, well, CJ Carr made this mistake, but he'll clean that up in the next year or two. Or Minchie did this, but that can get cleaned up. We don't have...
Yeah, I'm fine. I can deal. That's the difference with mistakes from Riley Leonard and Sam Hartman and mistakes from CJ Carr and Kenny Minchie. they're not even in the same world to me, because one of them is developmental and the other one is your season's just over and all that money's gone and there's no development and it's all over. It's just all over then. Like, that's why I have no leeway for these one and done guys getting a bunch of money to come in here. You got to deliver or there's nothing in it for anybody and it's all a waste. I hate that dynamic. I need you to deliver if you're a one and done. Otherwise, go with the developmental guys. So I don't have all the answers, but I'm really frustrated.
I've got one more question and I'll hop off the line. So I know a lot of us have talked about, are the wide receivers doing, and are they getting enough separation? They told us all summer the wide receiver room is vastly improved.
Yeah, I heard all about it every day. Oh, wow, it's different this time. And then I also heard when people push back on the beat on that, then I heard them say, well, we do this for a living. Don't you believe we're there every day all these years? We know what we're looking at. Okay.
Well, and that may be true, but if you don't have a quarterback that can throw it 25 yards down the field, how are we ever going to get a judge on if our wide receiver room is vastly improved or not? I mean, Bo Collins looks like he can go up and get you just about every ball you ask him to. Don't hardly look at him. The tight ends feasted against Purdue, but they should. We are more athletic than Purdue in every position on the field.
Yeah.
So I guess I reserve judgment on the receivers, because if your quarterback can't make the throws to get it to him, how can I judge whether you're good or not if you don't even get the ability to show us what you can do?
Here's what I see a little bit of. I see plays where guys do get open and Leonard either doesn't see him or can't pull the trigger. And then I see other plays where Leonard's in the ability to do that and then guys don't get separation. I've seen both of those happen a bunch of times and it's frustrating.
Yeah. Well, thank you for taking my call, John. Look forward to seeing you at the tailgate this weekend, and go Irish.
There we go. Look for the flags. We'll be there early in the morning. Have a good one. Thank you very much. Couple chats, then I'll go back. Look at Ohio podcast. I just need a Miller Lite and leave me alone. Real American hero. Here's to you, Notre Dame podcast. A guy who needs fancy beer and you have Miller Lite and depression to keep you company. Isn't that the most American thing you could? That's the most American thing you could name. If I added in some Marlboro Reds, it'd be the most American line ever. John, I think you're downplaying his running, though. He's not just a good runner. He's elite. ND is paying Denbrock a ton. Figure it out. Yeah, that's fine. You could think I'm downplaying his running all you want. I needed one more run for something that mattered against Northern. Not Purdue. I needed one. If it's all about the run, I needed one more run that added up to something that made you not lose to Northern Illinois and ruin the whole year. Like, there's no level that I could complain about Northern Illinois where I'm downplaying what that was. I needed a spinner-rooney fancy sideline, one more of those against Northern, not 80 of them against Purdue and none of them against Northern. Or not enough. The first drive, he was going down the field, whatever. I needed one more of those. The more we scored against Purdue, the more I got mad that you didn't score one more time the week before. John ate Starbucks too. Yeah. What part of... You got to be kidding me. Yes, I hate Starbucks. Why? Number one, severely overpriced, disgustingly overpriced for coffee. Number two, I don't like the clientele. How about that? I don't like the typical clientele. You got all these fancy business people, $5 coffee. What is it? I don't know, but to know $5 coffee, it's like $8 or $9 for some of this BS. Here's the deal. I think it's over. Number two, I don't like the clientele. You got all these fancy business people all the time, these power moms in their minivans. Oh, I need a double stroke latte macchiato caramelato with 8 squirts of juice in here. And then I need a little, you got 380-pound soccer moms in their van sitting there talking about, I need 8 squirts of low-fat, this and that, and skim-free milk in here. You need to park your van and walk around the block, lady. That's what you need. You don't need any Starbucks. You need to park that van and go for a walk. It drives me nuts. Pat, it drives me nuts. The clientele drives me. All these soccer moms that think there's somebody driving around. I can't get my kid to soccer without a 8 macchiato, caramelato, strocolato macchiatos. And the order takes 28 minutes to make. You're making some poor kid back there. Squirt in 90 ingredients for you to get a stupid coffee to start your dumb day. And you know what else? I didn't even get to the number one thing I hate. Small, medium, large. I think it should be illegal. That place doesn't just have small, medium, or large. It offends me to the core that you got to go up there and you can't even figure out what size is a medium. You can't even figure out it. It is the most offensive thing to me in the world. It's this, they're trying to separate you by class. I'm telling you it is. And they're making you feel poor that's what it is. They're making you feel poor and homeless if you walk up there and you can't just say, give me a medium coffee. That's the worst part about it. But the soccer mom thing bothers me too. You're 400 pounds and you're sitting there. I need 8 squirts of fat-free milk and sugar-free this and 8 squirts of this caramel. You're like 600 pounds. You ain't picky. I'm serious. But that small, medium, large thing, it really rubs me the wrong way. It is classist. I'm going to start a class action lawsuit. It is absolutely, they're doing it on purpose to weed out the people that don't fit in to the Starbucks culture. You can't just go say, give me a medium regular coffee. Everything's got to be a venti, stroke a latte, this or this. Whatever. I shouldn't have to think airports. That's where the only place I'll get one of these is at an airport. You get off a plane, you're half asleep, whatever. And it's right there. So you get one or whatever. Bro, why do I have to have the anxiety that I don't even know what size to call a medium when I'm in line to get a coffee? Why should I have to do that? I'm in a class action lawsuit for making me feel stupid. What's a medium? Seriously, tell me, what's a medium in Starbucks rich person fancy coffee lingo? I just want a medium coffee, lady. Oh, we don't have a medium. We have a venti, grande, latte, stroke latte, caramel latte. Grande? What do you mean? I thought grande means large. Grand means large. Doesn't grand mean large? Who told you couldn't order a medium? There's no medium on the list. You got to call it by their code words, their rich person coffee words. I'm against all of it. And, whatever. And all right. I'm going to leave it at that. But I just don't. The whole machine of that rubs me the wrong way. Whenever I've gotten a coffee, it has 2 ingredients, a coffee and a little bit of cream. Who needs 18 different ingredients? And you know what else? I would never be so self-absorbed that I'm going to make some poor 20-year-old hipster back there mix 80 ingredients together. I don't think that much of myself that I am going to make some hipster with purple stripes in their hair back there mix 20 different ingredients together so I get my little morning fix. It's rude. It's rude. Just order a coffee, a regular coffee. $5 holler from my brother. That's it. Johnny's getting a Starbucks gift card for his birthday. I'm just telling you, the whole thing rubs me the wrong way. I'm getting off a plane and I need to wake up and I need a coffee. And I literally have to think, am I going to be embarrassed that I get up here and I don't know what to call the size? Because they're too good to just have small, medium, and large, the standards everybody in America has for everything. They're too good for that. They're too fancy for that. I don't appreciate it. I don't appreciate it. Okay? So that's where I'm at on this. And I'm not backing down from it. 832, what's going on? Welcome to the show.
Oh, Johnny, I was dying laughing. I was glad you didn't get to me earlier because I about fell out of my chair. All I could think of is, I don't know if you ever heard the bit from Dennis Leary talking about coffee-flavored coffee back in the day where he voiced Starbucks. And he thought he hit the jackpot when he hit 7-Eleven. And he thought, okay, two metal cans over here, can't go wrong. Just thought it was black coffee or whatever. And apparently he picked out the coffee, he goes out down the road, and he said he was smelling syrup and stuff. And it turned out he goes back, he's like, what the hell is this? And he goes, it's Maple Nut Crunch. He's like, Maple Nut Crunch? I asked for, I don't think Juan Valdez went out there and got me some maple syrup to put in my coffee. Oh man.
Anyways, listen, it bothers me. It's always bothered me. It's classism is what that whole Starbucks thing is classist. And I don't appreciate it. And I'd rather be with the construction workers getting a Dunkin' Donuts or something I just don't, where I could just order a medium with regular people. How about that?
All right, back to Notre Dame football. That just drives us all crazy. With Leonard, you're going to get what you're going to get with Leonard running the ball and whatnot. He did it very well. I know everybody's, up in arms with, he missed Love on that long throw that he was just waving his arms around and down by the, end zone. And I think I'm pretty sure he saw him, but he also thought about what happened in IU the week previous. I'm not saying that he just took that glimpse in time, but I'm saying he just remembered he got picked that he didn't have. I don't think he has confidence in his long ball. I honestly think that's the case. And that's why he didn't throw it. And that's why he, just decided to go, run it for the first down. So that's kind of where we're going to get with him. But I was very happy to see all the QBs get time in this game.
Yeah.
This is what should happen in games like this. In IU, we should have had, all QBs in as well. And not only that they were very successful. Three out of the four had touchdowns. Bear in mind, CJ Carr, they were going to keep him just handing the ball off. So I was very happy to see that. And obviously the running backs had a hell of a day getting their touches. And then finally, the tight end popped. All of them did. I think all four of them, maybe just three. I don't remember if give me a second here. Mitchell Evans had a touchdown, but I believe the other three did earlier on. But so that was very good. But concerned obviously about the injuries on the O-line. We got through that one, but we'll have to see what kind of goes through there. But without Leonard being able to do what he does with the long ball, an average team or above average team, we're going to struggle if we can't throw the ball.
Yeah, no, it did feel like there was, and it's hard to judge because Purdue's not good, but it did feel like Notre Dame realized they needed to change some of that offense. I felt like there was it was a little more dynamic with more movement, more things going on, more action than you saw against Northern or whatever. So I do feel like they adjusted a little bit. And listen, I love the way Riley Leonard, he's a fighter. He's a competitor with that big body. For all the talk about that injury and is he even going to play, he did fine the whole game and wasn't afraid to run around and take hits and do whatever. I like all that, man. I like all that. It's just
That one touchdown where he shedded the tackle and also basically Heisman the other player to get into the end zone. That will that he had was unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
to get into the end zone for that. That was his moment for sure.
Yeah, it's just so frustrating though. And again, I believe what's happening with that passing game is sometimes guys are open and he doesn't see them or can't pull the trigger. And then other times when he's in position to, nobody gets open. And it's just very, very frustrating. That's what I see.
And I also want to congratulate our defense finally. We finally got some pressures and sacks. I understand Purdue is what they are, but maybe this will get them off the schneid and get that confidence built up. We shouldn't have to do that, but it looked like they finally figured something out to where they can get in there. And then another thing that I found impressive too is we were getting interceptions from outside our defensive backs. We had our linebackers pick up, and then I believe it was a defensive end that got the other one. That was awesome. And this defense would have held them to 0 if Urlacher would just float it down a little bit and didn't knock into Mickey. I'm pretty sure that would have been a 3 and out. It was so close for them. And then obviously I'm concerned about Botello because Botello, you've been harping on through this after the game call and he finally is getting into his own, and then he got taken off the field. So that was very unfortunate.
Yeah, he finally found his role, man. Like this was the year he needed to break out. He changed his body, got muscled up and thinned out, and he found a role. And it's really unfortunate. And the more I'm thinking about this offensive line thing, the less I like it because you're losing that whole year of development from 3 of the guys that are going to be starters on this, from Jagasaw and then the 2 guys that got hurt here. You're losing an entire year of development, and that's frustrating to me.
Yep. And I would say if we want to talk about downside, I'd come back to our special teams again for another week. Our kangaroo kicker can't seem to, that if there was a game to, especially when we were punting, 50, when we had 40 or 50 points on everybody, there should have been no pressure whatsoever and just let it go. But then at the same time, on the other end, what did we do on punt returns? You would expect as many punt returns that we were receiving that we could at least get one off for 40 or 50 yards, if not one return for a touchdown against this type of team. It just I didn't understand that. But our punt block pressure was fantastic. How many times we're like, it was right there. They were right on the cusp of getting that ball.
Yeah. It's it's just the response to the Purdue game was so heavily muted because of what happened the week before. It was really unfortunate.
Yep.
Had we won even by 1 point the week before, this would have been met with a very, very different response. Look at Notre Dame opening up a can on somebody, proving they're, taking a Big Ten team to behind the barn, all of that. But you just can't do all that when you did what you did the week before. It's very frustrating. And so I don't know, man. I'm struggling to figure out what the real Notre Dame team is. I just don't have a good answer to it. And that's an uncomfortable place for me to be in year 3. I thought we would have a better idea of the consistency of this team after week 1. And I don't know what you're going to get.
I don't know either. And then, you talked about a little bit on here, and it's very frustrating because when I saw the opening line for this upcoming Miami of Ohio, another Maxwell, another four touchdown favorite, I'm like, what are they doing to us? It's like Vegas is just, hovering over us, like, okay, we're going to try this again and see if it works.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting run here through the bye. If Notre Dame could get to that bye with just that one loss, you still have an angle for that playoff. I'm still mad you gave up that home field, but you still have a little bit of an angle there. But you got to prove you're over the Miami, Ohio, Marshalls type northern situation. And then you're going to have to beat Louisville. And yeah, they're coming to your place, but you're going to have to play a really good game, and they have a good defense. So you're not going to be able to be one-dimensional and beat Louisville. You're going to actually have to do some things.
The one thing that they have going for them on the Louisville game, though, is, it's a night game. It's going to be a green out. Hopefully it'll be almost all green in there. it's a big night for recruits because they got a lot of people coming through.
Which game?
Louisville.
I don't think that's a night game. Isn't Louisville a day game on Peacock? You can't even get it on TV. I don't think that's a night game.
It is on Peacock. But I thought they flipped it. I thought it was a night game.
No, I think I think it's a day game because you don't do a Peacock game for a night game. There's no way. I think that's middle of the day. No way.
Oh no, that one is the 3:30. Okay,
yep.
I thought for some reason they flipped that to a night game.
Yeah, but you can't do the.
They're gonna have all sorts of top recruits. I think they said I think that Madden kid from the linebacker.
Yeah, Ramo
is gonna be coming through. Yeah, man. Yeah, and then there's rumors. We'll see if Deuce makes it or not. But that's gonna be the make it or break it if Deuce is still in the class or not. If he makes it.
Yeah, that'll be interesting for sure. Too bad you couldn't show him the Great Home environment against Northern. That would have been, he would have signed up right then and there. Who needs the SEC when you could lose to Northern Illinois? Sign me up.
Well, he saw the loss in Auburn in that same night that we had that happen. So it didn't really, neither one had juice. So.
Yeah. Hey, Mark with glasses. Mark with glasses is bringing up the quality of the porta potties in the North lot. That's another reason I do the North lot, you guys. I'm not going to go in the stadium lot and have a tailgate, and for 2 hours of it, everybody's standing in line to take one leak. That's pointless to me. At least in the North lot, you could go to the bathroom and it doesn't take up half the morning. I don't like crowds. Too many people. I'm done.
Well, John, I'm sorry. Obviously, I'm not going to. I'm in Texas, and I was not able to make it up to the tailgate. Hopefully, I'm going to try to shoot for one next year when you guys do it. But you guys have a blast.
Oh, thanks.
Pick a Miller for me.
Oh yeah.
And hopefully we'll. Hopefully we don't have to worry about this one. Hopefully this one will be in the bag by halftime.
Yeah, we'll see what we could do. Hey, thanks a lot for the call, man, and crystal clear phone line. I appreciate it. Give me a call again. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Venti. What the hell is a venti? What does venti even mean? I don't even know what that means. It rubs me the wrong way. It's elitist and it's classist, this stuff they do to you, that you can't walk up there, a regular guy, and say, give me a medium regular coffee. Venti. Whoa, oh, I'm fancy. I got a venti. What do you mean a venti? Just give me a medium coffee. Anyways, so, but dude, that's the deal with that. I hate that stadium lot for tailgating. It's so congested and there's so many people. You can't do anything in there, man. There's no room to do anything. It's not even fun. You can't even walk through. And half of your day, you're going to be in line to take one leak. It's unbelievable. 10 minutes into a Starbucks rant. John, sorry, sir. This is a Wendy's. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. I do need a space for activities. And the activity is me walking around, moving around. You know how I am. I'm moving over here and I'm moving over there and I'm running my mouth here. I need a little space to move. I don't like being boxed in. That's why I don't like flying. I don't like that feeling of being boxed in or contained. I need to be, I'm wired tight. I need to be able to move. And that's why I pick seats at the top row of the stadium. So I have room so I can stand and I can lean against the wall and there's no one behind me. And you have a little more room to kind of be wound tight up there at the top of the stadium. And again, just like I almost needed last year, if you need it, you can flip right off the back when something stupid happens. Urban needs to repair his. Yeah, people are talking about Urban Meyer for the Notre Dame job. Here's what you do, you guys. Here's what you do. I've thought this through. If you were going to do the Urban Meyer thing at Notre Dame, like, I know that's crazy, whatever. I'm just saying, I've thought this through. If you were going to do the Urban Meyer to Notre Dame thing, everybody in America would be saying, Where's Notre Dame's morals? Look at that girl on Urban's lap, and what are you allowed to happen in Florida with that thug roster, everybody getting arrested, and how could you do this and get Urban? He's not a good guy. How could you have Urban Meyer at Notre Dame and say you have values? Blah, 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 blah. Here's what you do. If you did that, you make it the repenting thing. So you have Urban Meyer come back, and a part of it is, I know I'm not a perfect man. I know I made mistakes. That's why I'm coming back home to Our Lady in Notre Dame to cleanse my soul. And this is my way to repent for my sins and whatever. And that's what this is all about. And that's why I'm coming back to Notre Dame, is to purify my heart back in the Lord and in the golden dome of Mary and all that stuff. That's the angle. That's the angle. You make it all about repenting and Urban wanting to come back and cleanse himself of all those mistakes, be one with the Lord. And he started, at Notre Dame in the early 90s, make it full circle. And you come back and you're going to repent. And this is a part of your repentance. You go to confession and then they tell you got to do these things to be in good graces or whatever. Well, his penance is to come back to Notre Dame and you throw yourself on the altar and you just say, I've been a bad boy, but I'm a Catholic and I need to get my soul right. And that's why I'm coming back to Notre Dame. I'm telling you, that's the angle. You can laugh, but if you did that, you're going to take that moral hit from the country and then you flip it. And you have Urban get up there and literally say, I know I'm not a perfect person. I'm back here to make up for that. And my mission is to make Notre Dame good again as a part of that repentance. That, I'm telling you, that's what you say. I'm not joking about that. That would be the angle. It's the only angle you can play. People still won't believe it, but that's your card. That's your card that you're going to play is, I'm not a perfect person, and there's no better place to repent at the end of the run of your career than at Notre Dame. That's the angle. Telling you. I've thought of it all. Got it all figured out. 419, you're on the line. What's going on?
Hey, John. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm just trying to figure out what the realities of this Notre Dame team are. I'm not very clear on it. I don't know where we stand.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm getting a little annoyed with our fan base trying to say that this Northern Illinois team was a lot better than what they are. We have to remember that this is still a MAC school, and they are going to lose games. I do not see them winning out. They have to play a Bowling Green team that almost beat a Penn State. They have to play Toledo, who just smoked a bad Mississippi State team, but still an SEC team. This loss is just still so unacceptable, and it's really frustrating to see this whole thing of like, oh, they're a lot better than what they are. No, that was just so mismanaged, and to have this Purdue game afterwards just makes it even worse. Knowing that they were able to run it up. And here we are, 2-1, and we've been the laughing stock of college football. It's embarrassing. It's really hard here living in Ohio, surrounded by Ohio State fans, and having to deal with just Notre Dame not showing up when we have these teams. I don't know.
It's a rough place. The more we piled it up on Purdue, the more frustrated I was what we did the week before. And I realized that people are going to say, John, you got to move on. I have close Notre Dame friends that are mad at me that I'm holding on to NIU and I won't let it go. It's just the one it couldn't be. And it's the one it couldn't be. And that's really frustrating. And the team's got to move on or whatever, but I don't. That was the one it could never be. And you allowed it. And it's hard. It's not going to go away.
Yep. It's a roller coaster. After week one, I feel like the fan base was in such a good spot, and to lay an egg like that, and then to move on to Purdue, it's just like a head scratching moment where you're like, what's going on in the Goog? Because clearly that team was either hungover, I don't know if it's the water in East Texas or if they were drinking something else, but that is completely on Freeman. And
yeah,
I don't see us going 11-1. I just don't. Maybe I'm too negative. I've always been a Freeman supporter, but there's just this really alarming trend of either playing down to your opponents and making up when we lose these head scratching games.
Yeah, it's really, really frustrating. An 11-1 team could have a good playoff run and a good seeding or whatever, but the one couldn't be this one. That's going to follow you. Now I don't know. This is week by week. It's just week by week. And then it's all elimination. Look at it this way. Notre Dame's in the playoff right now, and every game is an elimination game. And that's the way they need to be thinking, because they had a game in their pocket to play with and they threw it down the toilet. Now you are in playoff mode, and it is literally it's week to week now. And you got to show that you can take Miami, Ohio seriously. And then you got to show me you could beat a strong Louisville defense and be balanced enough on offense to be able to win that football game. And then you get into a bye, and then you're looking at a run of beatable teams, and then Florida State that looks more beatable than any of us thought. And then you're getting down to the end of the year with just that one loss. That's the roadmap. But who am I to talk about any game beyond the one right in front of us when you Northern Illinois yourself? I can't talk about anything big picture because you can't handle that. I got to worry about us just winning one dumb game at a time.
Yeah. And just big picture perspective too. I mean, we're talking about, how much money has Riley Leonard been paid at Notre Dame? Like $2 million?
That is the ballpark that I was told.
Yeah. So if I'm a booster and I'm seeing these performances, why the hell would I give money for another transfer quarterback? I just hope that we get out of this one and done rental, because we had Jack Cohn, and then it was on to we had tried the Tyler Buckner experiment. That clearly did not work. And then we get Sam Hartman, who the fan base still ogles over because he has nice hair, but it's clearly not a formula working for Notre Dame. Clearly not. And I'm hoping that, CJ Carr or Kenny Minchie, somebody just steps up and just takes this team to where it needs to be, because I don't see Riley Leonard doing it. I don't think he's the leader. He's the type of Notre Dame leader that this team needs. He seems like a really quiet, I'm just grateful to be here, and I'm just, kind of starstruck. But he's clearly, I don't know. The offense has no leadership, and it's got to come from someone.
I just feel like we're about ready for a in-house guy where there's development and a high level ceiling, but there's development there and the team could grow together. And I don't know. I think we're ready for that next year. The season's not over yet, but it doesn't look like the last two guys are going to be able to get you over that hump, which is why you get a one and done guy, is to win now. You're acknowledging when you get a one and done guy, there is no development. It is all about winning the most games you can in this year and making a big splash and whatever. And you're admitting there's no development with the quarterback and everybody else for future years. That's a lot of all or nothing. And it just can't be nothing.
Yep. It's been mostly nothing. But hey, John, I appreciate you taking the call. I'll have to get you a nice venti when I'm at the tailgate.
Well, I don't know what size that is. Let me know. Write it on the cup for me. I don't know what size that is, but and don't forget my skim goat's milk macchiato caramely abato. Okay.
Sounds good, John.
Have a good one. Thank you very much. Listen, I'm sorry. That Starbucks thing has bothered me forever. Classist. It's elitist. You can't even go in there and order. A medium. It's un-American. Truly, it's un-American that you can't go in there and order a medium. You just go, give me a medium. A medium what? A medium coffee. What do you need in it? Coffee. I don't know. Coffee. I thought venti was a flavor. All right, I'm not totally alone on this. 574, what's going on? Welcome to the show.
Hi, John. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Just trying to make sense of exactly where this Notre Dame football program's at, and it's not the easiest task to complete.
No, it's not, man. I'm a longtime fan of the show. First time caller.
Oh, thank you. I see
grew up in the area.
Yeah, I see the 574. I was going to ask, are you local then?
Yep. Yeah, I'm local. I'm only 25. I grew up in the area, and I've been to at least one game a year, and it's getting harder and harder to go, with the rising prices. I feel like that's kind of a bad thing for the program.
Yeah, man.
When I go to a game, I get really hyped.
It's tough though. It seems like there's not a lot of like middle tier home games anymore. You have like the one, maybe two that are the big games that are going to get flexed into night. They do the light shows for the prices. And then you have a lot of games on the lower end that don't move the needle at all. It's hard to find like middle range games on the home slate anymore. I don't know.
Yeah. And you guys were talking about it earlier, and I looked at the schedule, and there is a lot of home games that are at 3:30 this year. And I'm just wondering that.
Here's something I thought about too. How much of this has to do with, I guess NIU did move the needle and moved the needle right into my eyeball. I wonder this too. Is some of that scheduling shifting because of NBC's new deal with the Big Ten? Think about that. They have primetime games. They want to play on that network now. And it isn't always just what Notre Dame wants. So maybe that's why they want to keep us in that afternoon window more often. If they have like a bigger profile Big Ten game, they want to flex into that night window. I'm starting to wonder if that's a part of this too.
Like they're trying to push us into the conference. And, we've all been wondering if that's coming soon, if we're going to be losing our independence. But, we don't know how that's going to work out for us either.
And you know what? Wait, I'm glad you brought that up. I want to remind everybody, I'm pretty sure the number on the line is $16 million that Notre Dame gets if they make the playoff field. I think it's $16 million they get as their piece of the pie, but only if they're in the field. You got to keep in mind now, anytime Notre Dame does not make the playoff, you are falling behind every other team in the country in terms of resources because you're not getting $16 million more to add to your football program. It's a big problem. You need to be in that field.
Yeah, well, the thing about that is I think everybody needs to calm down about the NIU loss because, look, we lose one game a season. We're in before this new playoff bracket. We lose 2 games a season now with this new playoff bracket, and I think we can still be in. So
I'm not sure about that one. I'm not sure about that. I used to think that.
Well, I don't know about the first season, but we'll see how it plays out in the long run.
And does it depend? Does who you lose to matter? Like, I'm starting to think about that too. You're like 11-1 Notre Dame, but the one is NIU, or like, I'm starting to wonder.
There's going to be a lot of teams that cannibalize each other this year. There's not going to be many, one-loss undefeated teams, I think. So we'll see how it shakes out. But I also want to ask a more big picture question. And this, maybe not everybody will agree with this, but, as I just feel like we were able to get a lot better recruits when I was younger. And, I'm not that old. I've only seen, I only really remember the Charlie Weiss era is when I first, some of my earliest memories are going to Notre Dame games, but that's like during the Charlie Weiss era. And he had some really good recruits, man. Some guys that played really well. And I just wonder as the standards of our intelligence in this country, as our culture declines maybe, and we start to drift away from, religious values, how that affects our ability to succeed at Notre Dame.
Yeah, it's a good question. That's a really good question.
And that's kind of a big picture, longer term thing. And I also think people need to be more realistic, our fan base, about Marcus Freeman. And I've been a ride or die Marcus Freeman guy, but I've also been more realistic. Like when he lost the Marshall game, my family and friends, they're freaking out. And I have friends that one of my best friends, he has ties to Alabama, his family. So he was a big Alabama fan, and I brought him to games when we were kids, and he's grown to love Notre Dame. And I brought my friends, I brought multiple people into the fan base, and it's kind of embarrassing at this point. But yeah, I mean, you got to be realistic about Marcus Freeman. Like, I was ride or die, I still am kind of, but like my friends calling for his loss after the Marshall game. And I'm like, you got to be realistic. This is a guy that is a first
Marshall. Okay. It was year one with Marshall.
Exactly.
Like, you
can't be realistic.
Like,
we're
that's
Notre Dame fans. We're crazy, right?
That's tough.
You got to be realistic. And now we're in year 3, man. So he's still doing this kind of stuff. You would expect year 3, he's still going to be doing this kind of stuff. Maybe. Hopefully not the kind of procedural errors as last year with Ohio State, but maybe the getting the guys hype, reading in too much of the hype his first year, where, man, you can really read into that stuff. Everybody's talking about it, and now I'm thinking maybe we could even use that, like you guys have been saying, as a good thing. Maybe that ends up being a really good thing for our guys if we can take it week by week and realize any team can beat you.
It's just
boys hype,
but it's
every week.
I realize there's a lot of different players on the team now, but I was kind of hoping that's the lesson that would have been learned from Marshall and Stanford. And then last year when showed against Louisville and Clemson, those are 4 examples that I really, really kind of was hoping the team and the coaches and Freeman would learn from to not be in the position again. That's why I'm frustrated. You had 4 of those. Two no-shows on the road last year where you didn't seem interested to play, couldn't match the emotion of the other team. It's unacceptable. And then 2 losses at home in perfect weather and good conditions to lower level teams. I needed you to learn from all that and not end up there again. And here we are again. I'm very frustrated.
Yeah, it is frustrating. And, somebody said earlier about him running 3 touchdowns, Riley. That's great, man. We can put a running back under center, and we can have a guy that's going to run all over. We need a quarterback that can throw the ball, and he's been missing wide open passes. Why is it that we get a guy multiple years in a row, and it seems so sophomore. It seems so bad. Do we need to get rid of this QB coach? Are quarterbacks coming to this program and regressing? That shouldn't even be a question. The quarterback coach needs to be out of there.
That's interesting. Where's the developmental arc? And now this is a longer term problem with Notre Dame, though. If you want to go through the Freeman guys and then you want to go back through the Kelly guys, there is a track record of the longer you start at Notre Dame, the worse your record and your stats get. Like, literally, it's a thing. Yep. Go back through Freeman, go back through Kelly. The more games guys started at Notre Dame, the worse they did. That is an awful trend. It is a scary, scary trend.
But at least I remember in 2012, I think, this is a long time ago. I don't remember exactly, but when he made that championship run, we had 2 different quarterbacks. We had Everett Golson, and when he struggled, we put in Tommy Rees. And we still went undefeated in the regular season. But then you see that's kind of a didn't really work out for us when we got to Alabama.
Yeah. In the other, what else too?
He had the guts to do that.
It's another really good point is if you want to look at this new playoff era, Notre Dame's going to have to win 4 games to ever win another championship. You're going to have to be extremely
we have to be realistic about.
You're going to be well-rounded.
We have to be realistic about this year.
You got to be very well-rounded if you're going to think you're going to win 4 games in a row as a Notre Dame team in the playoff. You cannot have any major weaknesses. And so you're going to have to, whenever that is, you're going to have a run game and a pass. You're going to run up against the wall. So I don't know, man. It's a little frustrating, and we'll see. But we'll be there. We'll have some Miller Lites in the morning on Saturday, and we'll see if the old team can put it together. Anything on the way out? Thanks for giving me a call. I hope you'll save the number. Call me again.
Not really anything else, John. I'm going to the Stanford game. That's the tickets I bought this year for me and my pops to go to. So
there you go.
I'll be at that game, and
That'll be nice, man. Well, enjoy it. Give me a call again sometime. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, John.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
one. I don't know if he's going to. I told him to save the number and call me again. He didn't say, "Oh yeah, man." I think he was thinking it through. Oh man, Gilmore. I'm harder than anyone on Freeman, but these calls should happen Wednesday. Doesn't the team deserve some love for 60-plus points? Maybe they're going to respond to the BS against NIU. Andrew, it's surprising to people that you are the one that's a little more understanding of things right now than a lot of these people are being. I'm a little surprised by that you're the one trying to be more reasoned. The response to the onslaught against Purdue, it would be 100% met totally differently. Even if you struggle to pass the ball, whatever, it would all be different if you didn't lose to Northern, man. Tom, what's going on a Monday?
Hey, good morning.
What's up, my friend?
The Starbucks rant was absolutely epic. Thank you for that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tom, these little things bother me. It's an elitist, classist setup, and I'm against it. You make me feel dumb. I can't just order a medium.
And as that was going on, I was in my first cup of Folgers, Mrs. Olson's Mountain Grown Folgers, baby.
There you go. Hey, the best part of waking up is a Miller Lite in your cup.
Oh my God. Thank you for that. We needed that laugh, John. That was a good diversion from all the noise that's going on. Yeah. So yeah. Hey, listen, I'm kind of with Andrew a little bit because I did an old Ben Franklin close on myself, which is anybody that's ever worked in sales knows what a Ben Franklin close is. It's a pros and cons thing. And I listed it on a paper, all the pros of Notre Dame and all the cons, and the pros still outweigh the cons, but the cons are glaring. And a couple of the cons that are glaring are the special teams, i.e. the punter and the quarterback situation. Now, if you look at the defensive side of the ball, and I give this credit to Marcus Freeman big time, the amount of talent upgrade on the defensive side of the ball is absolutely visible. These kids are dogs. They are absolute players. So hey, good on Marcus Freeman for that. What still gets stuck in my craw is his lack of attention to detail and not having the players ready. I don't know what happened between Texas A&M and NIU, but it seems to me that Denbrock took it under his own. He took the offense under his own wing and says, "Okay, how do we make this Riley Leonard experiment work?" And he ran a lot more motions. He had tight ends in motion. And it wasn't gimmicky. It's just, if you notice, they ran a lot. They ran the jet screen about 3 or 4 times. I mean, the jet sweep, and that kept him off balance. I think they have to put in that game plan that is going to make him the dink and dunk quarterback and let him complete the passes that he needs to. So remember the experiment Holtz did with Tony Rice in the '88 championship year, right? He couldn't complete a pass to save his life until the Miami game. Remember that?
Well, on film, I do. I was a little too young to remember it in real life.
Oh, okay. I'm just saying it was just at that point, he was struggling mightily, and then, then he took the fastest guy on the field and completed a long bomb to the Rocket that game, and that's what opened up the game. I think Riley Leonard's still capable of doing that in the right settings. Did you see the point in the game when they put KK Smith in and Mitchell a couple of times?
Yep.
When they ran fly routes and they were wide open, and he just got happy feet. He's not settling himself down in the pocket. He's got to, and I don't know how you teach that. So that's on Denbrock and Gino Gadulli. They have to coach this kid up. because until, like somebody mentioned earlier in the chat, I think it was Pat. Pat's afraid that Riley Leonard is going to get hurt because he's running so much. Well, that's a strong possibility. He's a big kid, but he's been hurt before, as we saw last year. So you're going to have to just ride him out until such time, and then hopefully you've got the backup quarterbacks enough reps in practice. And I think I could be wrong, but I think the NCAA has the rule, the practice rule. You can only practice so much, so many hours in a week. Is that, you know that to be true?
I know there's some rule. Yeah.
Okay. So if I'm Gino Gaduli and Mike Denbrock, I am going to spend an inordinate amount of time, even with some other assistant coach, grad assistants or whatever, and have Minchie, Angeli, and Carr getting as much reps as they possibly can. For the Carr and Cam Williams put on an aerial show every time they throw the ball in practice. So there's talent there. I think we're stuck. We're kind of stuck, John.
It's a weird spot.
Riley Leonard.
It's just a it's a weird spot. And there's parts of his game that you really appreciate and really love.
Absolutely.
But it's just, it can't have like not enough on the other end of it. And it's just a little frustrating. And, but in the post-game show, man, people were calling for Notre Dame to not start Riley Leonard anymore. That's just not going to happen. They got him. They paid him. They got him. They paid him. They built the offense around him. He scored 3 touchdowns that counted for all those yards or whatever. Like in this game, I understand the frustration, but they're just not going to pull him short of injury. I don't think that's just not going to happen this year. It ain't in the cards.
No, and you know what? I'm rooting for him. I want him to get better. I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, if they run more RPO, so from watching the game the second time, it seems like every time they went RPO, his reads were a lot better. So that he did improve.
Yeah.
So the game plan was a lot better, obviously, than Northern. And then it's going to suck for a long time. That we'll never forget how they got beat by Northern, and yet they still had a chance to win if that was managed right. So I don't know what the whole Freeman thing is still an experiment, and I have just resigned the fact that okay, it is what it is. Or I'm not going to drive myself nuts about it because it hurts me physically and mentally. I'm not going to let that happen. So we just hope with the talent that's on that team, it was really encouraging. I mean, Kennedy Urlacher, Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
Shot out of a cannon. Shot out of a cannon,
wow.
Man. It's like almost he almost looks like a blur on the screen. He comes out of nowhere so fast. It's like boom. It's just boom. There he is. Like it flashes, Tom. When you watch a lot of football, certain things flash to you where you notice them. He has an extra gear. Oh my God.
Oh yeah. And he was barely a 3-star recruit. So, I think it was because he was coming out of New Mexico and, it's not a hotbed for college football talent, right? Well, this kid clearly, and then Bryant Young's son. I mean, that's a physical specimen. So they're going to have to, and then Boubacar Traore. I mean, these kids, they're stepping up and they want to play. And I think their talent, as long as the coaches trust, they're going to have to see more playing time, and that's okay by me because they're fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what, man? For the first time this year, it was really enjoyable to be able to not have your blood pressure through the roof where you feel like one little misplay is going to cost you the game, to be able to relax a little bit, see some of these other guys play, see some of the depth, see some of the young guys. That's all a part of the development as well. And it was just really nice for a week for me not to almost have a stroke the whole game.
I'm sorry. Jake Carr just corrected me. I misspoke. I said he was from New Mexico. He's from Arizona. Still
close enough.
Still, the point
somewhere out there.
Yeah, it's still not a hotbed for a lot of college football talent. But I appreciate being corrected. It's just, you know what I mean. It's fun to see these kids, and I think from the recruiting class, the intelligence on the recruiting class coming in, we got a couple more players like that.
Yeah, gotcha.
From Simeon on the outside of Chicago.
Tom, that's what it is. Or the dad was New Mexico. That's why that was in your head. That makes perfect sense.
That's right.
That's right.
Thank you. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, is he a chip off the old block? He just doesn't have his old man's size. That's all there is to it. But, God, and so how do you keep those kids off the field? And, you know, I don't care if they were playing Little Sisters of the Poor on set. Those kids are going to see some playing time. And I just don't understand that punter thing just still bothers me. How they don't have an athlete on that team that could be taught how to punt longer than 36 yards. They said most high school punters can kick the ball better than that average that this guy's got. I just don't understand it. So that's where the heck that's
Tom. I was promised he had a huge leg, and the guys guys in August camp said they saw him kick some 65, 70 yarders high and with a weird spin. And I have not seen one of those bombs yet. We're doing the Patreon tonight, the live Patreon. Me and Goolsby, ask Goolsby any questions you want. Shooting for 7:00 there. Thanks for mentioning it in the chat. I'll put a link out. I'll put a link out soon and post it soon for everybody. So Tom, I don't have an answer to that one, but I'm waiting for that dude to bomb one. I'm still waiting. It just looks a little funky. I don't know.
I hear you. Listen, thank you for taking my call. I hope you guys have a better week. I'm not going to make the tailgate. A dear friend of mine passed away, and the funeral is on Saturday morning, so I can't go.
Oh man, that's completely understandable. We'll drink a Miller Lite in your honor on behalf of your friend's honor, and we understand you'll be there in spirit, and we'll find a time to meet up, Tom. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Oh yeah. All right, talk to you later, guys.
Have a good one. Take care, man. What a nice guy. I'm glad he's feeling better. 716, you're in the mix. What's going on? Welcome to the show on a Monday.
Yeah, hey, listen, John. Great weekend. We got to show off our young talent, which was awesome. But I'm going to add a little levity to this in two ways. One, maybe the team needs a motivational speaker who lives in a van down by the river.
I like that. Yeah, I think I know.
You understand that, right?
Yeah, I think I know just the guy.
And then I got to tell you the story about the Starbucks they wanted to put in our town. This is so hilarious. So down on West State Street on the right-hand side going out of town towards St. Bona's, they start a Starbucks, and across the street they do a Well Now, which is a medical thing, and just a little further back towards town, right next door, they start a Chipotle. So they start them all at the same time. The Well Now opens up, the Chipotle opens up. It's a year later. And of course, we got winter and stuff here like you guys got. So they're even working on the stuff during the winter for the other two. Starbucks, they don't seem to want to work in the winter. So the other end of town, completely about 100 yards from the city line, Tim Hortons comes in and buys. Tim Hortons is built and up and running, and Starbucks we're still waiting for. 2 years and a half later, the Starbucks opens up. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So they want to have this green patch, right, for the people. So they got lawn out there. And instead of putting curbs so people can't drive up and go onto the lawn, they put no curbs in off the asphalt. So people are driving up and parking on the lawn. I'm thinking, what a total disaster. What a disaster.
Anything for the coffee.
The story of Starbucks in our town.
Anything for that coffee. I will tear up any lawn in any yard, and I will park my minivan, and I will get an extra triple large macchiato strochiato.
And I'm thinking, my wife liked to do Starbucks, but she just gets something normal, just a shot of caramel in the coffee, and that's it.
Yeah.
None of this fancy dancy stuff. But I'm thinking, like, we don't need this West Coast influence out here, I mean, but I thought 2.5 years to build it, and you have 3 major places that go in, and one starts a year after you, and it's a coffee thing, but it's crazy. But anyways, back to the game. I looked at this thing logically, and I started thinking about this. Marcus Freeman, at some point, is going to have to play Angeli, somebody that can pass. Because number one, is he going to allow this team to go down and basically sabotage his career? Because if he has the talent he has, there's no way, John, that he's not going to play somebody that can pass. Otherwise, his career is kaput. Think about that. I mean, he's going to have to do that. He's not going to leave Riley Leonard out there. He's going to have to say, the heck with you people and the $2 million. I've got to win football games because that's what you want me to do. And he'll sabotage his career if he doesn't change.
Man,
because
so how do you?
That's the bottom line. He'll
How do
sabotage
you?
his career. Nobody's stupid enough to do that.
How do you pull the plug on the quarterback that you paid a couple $1 million for, and he's the big body guy, and he accounted for 3 touchdowns with his legs and all those yards and everything? What are you going to do? You're just going to pull the plug on that and it's just, we're going to go with Angeli and that's it. Like, you're asking for a lot.
No, I'm thinking about, think about this. He doesn't want to be a stay-at-home dad and have his wife working. Yeah, there's probably a buyout and stuff like that. When you're living that lifestyle, there's things you're gonna want. And he does have a large family, okay, and kids that need college and whatnot. And that can disappear quick, especially the way we're printing money. Of course, everything's going to go down, right? The price. But anyways, I'm thinking, and I remember the Tony Rice experiment because I remember sitting in a parking lot. My son's getting ready to start in a basketball tournament, my middle kid. We're in the parking lot listening to Notre Dame at USC that year. And Notre Dame was back on their 1 yard line, and Rice throws a bomb. And we get a touchdown on the first play from scrimmage that we have against Southern Cal. And I mean, it was there. Now, here's the choices. You have Riley Leonard and you have Angeli. And if you remember, when Brian Kelly was at Cincinnati, he ran a 2-tier quarterback system. Yep. It will work if you know how to do it. So the thing is, Riley Leonard can be used. I mean, the gentleman said, how about a double option? Well, I was thinking when he said that, I think, what are we going to go back to? The Darryl Royal wishbone that Texas used to run? Remember when they ran the bone? Well, you don't, but the wishbone back in 69 and 70. 2 running backs and the quarterback, and all 3 of them. You either keep it or you take it. You either keep it or you hand it off. One of the 2. Now, you could do that, but that's not going to help because everybody's going to stack the box. So what you look at is you use Angeli where he can be used when we need to pass, and you use Riley the other way. And I think Riley would be willing to give up things. I mean, come on. He's a team guy. He wants to win. And face it, he's not going to go to the pros unless all of a sudden he learns how to pass. And that brings me to the other point. Is it easier to teach a quarterback to throw the ball away when he's in the pocket rather than take a sack, or teach a quarterback how to throw the ball on a dime to a receiver? Well, everybody knows the easier of the 2 is learn how to throw the ball when you're about ready to get dumped in the pocket. That's the easier of the 2.
Yeah.
So unless something happens here and Riley all of a sudden is, if something happens that he's able to do that. So Denbrock, yeah, he probably designed the game against Purdue because, we athletic them, if you want to say it that way. But against the other teams, you aren't going to do that. It'll be interesting to see what they do for the MAC game this week.
Yeah.
It'll really be interesting to see it. If they allow them to pass.
I don't know if they are, I don't know if they're going to be, I I don't know if they're open to the dual quarterback thing or not, or if they feel like that's going to complicate things or not. You also probably don't want to be in a position where if one guy's in, you know that it's going to be a run, and the other guy comes in, you know it's going to be a pass. Like, I don't know if anybody has an appetite to do that and mix it up, but you can't be one-dimensional when you play these better defenses and expect to win these games. I don't think you're beating Louisville if you can't find a way to throw it all. So you better figure something out.
Well, think about this. If I'm playing Notre Dame and Riley Leonard's in there, I'm thinking I don't have to drop my guys more than 20 yards. Really. I mean, I could basically let a receiver run by me. And, thinking about it that way. On the other hand, when Angeli's in there, you got to play for the pass, which will open it up for the run, because now they're cognizant of the fact this guy can drop a dime on the receivers. And they're going out, so it's alleviating the congestion in the box, and now you can use the run. So if we can find a way that Riley can pass downfield, and here's one of the keys. One of the guys said, well, he must have seen Love down there running around or whatever. No, because like I said last week, at halftime, Rick Neuheisel, who I think knows a lot more than us about football, said the problem with Riley Leonard is he doesn't keep his head up and look downfield when he starts to run. If he'd look downfield, he'd see the guys. And those are just things you need to work on in practice. The one getting rid of the ball and how to do it without taking a sack for Angeli, and with Leonard on how to pass, but keep your head up and looking downfield to see what you've got. Rather than looking at the immediate, you kind of can get with peripheral vision what's happening around you. But if you see straight ahead and you see the guy down there and he's wide open, you're going to have to pass it. So it becomes a tricky situation.
It's going to be interesting. So I don't know, man. I'm open to seeing how they navigate all this. And there's a big range there of possibilities. I don't know what the plan's going to be. We'll see what happens back at home this week, and then we'll go on to Louisville. Hey, I'm going to get going. We're going to watch this Freeman press conference, see what's going on. Hey, thanks for the phone call today, starting out the week.
He doesn't start until 12:30 now.
Okay.
It used to be noon, but everything I've watched the last 2 weeks is 12:30.
Interesting. So,
It'll start at 12:30.
Yeah, I thought it was 12:30.
But anyway, so maybe I'd gone the last 2 weeks, and it was supposed to start at noon. That's the way it always did. And actually, Kelly used to have one on Thursday nights, too, at times. But he used to do that tire rack thing. Remember the tire rack thing he used to do, Kelly, on Thursdays?
Oh, yeah.
But anyway,
can't wait to see that guy talk. Got to be there.
I'll leave you with this. It's what I said to begin with. He is not going to sabotage his career and honor that $2 million commitment if he knows he can win with Angeli. No coach would do that. He's not going to sabotage his career, John. Think about that. At some point, he knows he's going to have to face that decision. But he doesn't want to be a stay-at-home mom. Trust me.
Man.
Trust me.
Yeah.
He's going to have to make the change some way.
Ooh, man, it's going to be interesting.
That's a logical way to look at it.
All right. We'll see what happens. Hey, thanks for the call today. Getting us started out on a Monday. You take care now. All right, guys. I got a couple other things I got to record. I got another show I need to hop on and record. Mondays are busy around here. I do have a bank of callers I'm not going to be able to get to. 11 was my kind of cutoff, and I got to get some stuff done here. And I've been going a long time on those post-game shows, almost 3.5 hours the last 2 weeks. And we're hammering that hard, and I appreciate having people that want to call in that much. So Domer, Watt, $5 hour. Sunk costs are the enemy of change. While not easy, Freeman needs to puke the decision and move forward. We clearly have promising alternatives. I don't know if you're going to see that. And they could use the evidence of those 3 rushing touchdowns and all that stuff against Purdue on the good side, like whatever. I don't know. You're in a tough spot. I don't know what you're going to do. Thanks for the donations. Thanks for the chats. Thanks for the calls. We'll have something for you in the morning tomorrow, and we'll go from there. Good show. Thanks. Good start to the week.